Hello, everybody. So, apologies for
Hello.
starting late. We're having a bit of a crisis mode here, um, as I seem to have had more wider effect than I thought kind of possible. So, B Hop is not with us today, as I've banished him from the kingdom, and
Mhm.
Joe is either running late or he's also kind of afraid of my power, and he won't be attending either. So, we're going to see what happens in that aspect. So, but fortunately, I am saved because I have the wonderful Rachel from Chat About It, Don't Chat About It. Thank you very
Hello.
much for being here. Because if you weren't here, this was going to be a very lonely kind of stream. Um, so apologies. Voice is a bit croaky, so I was kind of hoping to have a few more voices on stream, but it is what it is. So with
It
that
is.
in mind, chances are what we're going to do, just for anyone kind of watching on X, thank you very much, and YouTube, we're probably going to go for about an hour just to rest the old throat, and that'll give Joe a chance to chime in if he's here. Um, and yeah, we're just going to go from there. So the first thing I wanted to kind of get stuck into, just because it's kind of quite relevant, is the whole kind of Doctor Who kind of time zone kind of drama, kind of debacle that's kind of unfolded.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
timey-wimey.
this was going to quite last kind of minute, so I don't necessarily have a document to hand, but so as far as I'm aware, it's we in the UK we are getting it at midnight on iPlayer,
We are.
but it's going live kind of for live service broadcasters or the BBC rather at its normal time slot. But
Yes.
the US get it earlier just
Mm.
because of a matter of how the time zone is. So what are your thoughts on that?
Um, personally, I don't like that.
Yeah,
And I'm all for, like, simultaneous streaming, but I believe, and this is just me, I believe that the home nation of a produced TV
yeah.
show takes precedence on who gets the first release. Just because someone like Disney are putting money in doesn't mean to say that they take precedence
Well, it was
over
only for
something like
marketing,
that.
wasn't it? They have well allegedly have no kind of creative control.
Allegedly. Allegedly, yeah. And that's the interesting thing, and then they've become involved, and now suddenly, um, the US are getting it at 7 p.m. in some of the time zones and 4 p.m., I think it was in LA.
Yeah, I mean, if you remember, Game of Thrones had something kind of similar because it was obviously premiered in the US. We got it at
Yeah,
midnight, but there is always that kind of priority. You know, if it's a US show, we've always had to kind of grin and bear it, haven't we? You know, we've always
of
had it
course,
a
yeah.
day later, a week later. Um, and I agree. I think it's. I mean, look, there are more serious things in the world going on, I guess, than worrying about
Mm,
what time Doctor Who kind of airs. But I think, as a matter of principle, if you're a UK kind of license fee payer,
mm.
you know, you would like to think that whoever the BBC kind of bigwigs are kind of chiming in on it will think, actually, do you know what? That may not be the best kind of solution. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
are you bothered from being a UK license fee payer? Does that bother you at all?
Well, kind of, yes, actually,
Yeah,
because obviously I'm putting my money into it, right? So I want that to be prioritized. Also, what bothers me about it is not everyone has streaming services.
yes.
And like, imagine the amount of children who watch this trailer and they're going to hear, oh, it's at midnight. And they're going to go, Mum, Dad, can I stay up until midnight?
Oh
And they're going to
no,
be
no, thank you.
gutted. They're going to be gutted.
Yeah, I completely agree. And there's a
Yeah.
good chance with kind of social media as it is, you know, it's going to be spoiled. And again, look, let's be honest. My general kind of thoughts are I'm not going to be missing much anyway. So if it was spoiled, what the
No.
hell? But it's more about the principle. And I think really the BBC need to kind of get their head out their ass and make a decision about whether are they going to keep banging on about being a live service broadcaster
Mm.
and going to keep collecting that free, easy licensee money, or are they going to go into the kind of streaming business? And they need to make a decision because I don't feel they should be able to have it both ways.
The ironic thing about it, yeah, actually, I agree with that. The ironic thing about it as well, and I said this in my video, which I released earlier on today, is that the BBC iPlayer, if you actually take a look at it, it offers a live streaming service of what's actually on TV in
Yeah,
addition to the catch-up stuff. Um, so it would just go on again anyway at
yeah,
that time. And not being funny, America's not that far behind us. I think the only problematic one would be Australia.
yeah. But
If
let's be
you want
honest,
it.
that's never ever really been factored in, has it? In as far as
No,
media goes.
I mean, that's what, quite a time difference, and what's New Zealand? 11, 12 hours, I don't even know if
Yeah, I'd
it's
have to take your word for it. Yeah.
yeah. So, yeah, it's just like you can do it at the normal time in UK and then air it early afternoon, late afternoon in
Just
America,
can't seem to get it right,
Toronto.
can
No,
they?
there's no balance
You know,
to it.
and that's not even looking at the programming itself, you know, when it even comes now
Mm,
to organising and getting the series on air, they just seem to be kind of ballsing up. And I wonder, is this intentional maybe to head off kind of any potential kind of drama and thoughts on the kind of content itself, you know?
yeah. I think they're gonna push it towards a streaming service if they're
Yeah, I
really
mean, you know, look,
gonna hammer it in.
I've always been a thing of, you know, like, I pay the license fee because,
Yeah.
you know, I don't want any kind of dodgy kind of characters at the door, but I don't necessarily think it's something that you should be forced to do. And I think if they're going to go down that route of subscription, then they need to be confident in that decision and not, you know, kind of be, you know, feet on both sides of the fence.
Well, exactly, and look at Disney being confident in that decision. Look at the hit that they took by making that decision.
Yeah.
It was quite a big thing for them, and they've lost money doing it, so much so that they've knocked the prices down.
Most streaming services have, haven't they? If memory serves, I think Netflix is the only one at the minute that's making a penny or two.
Yeah, Netflix is.
Because obviously Paramount Plus is obviously kind of looking for, they're touting for business to take over, kind of,
Yeah.
you know. So um, I think BBC as always are just trying to, you know, play a blinder and try and, you know, keep you know, fingers in kind of both pies, you know. But it is what it is, isn't the BBC are going to be living in their bubble until someone kind of forcefully bursts
Pops
it. I
it.
don't think that's going to be for a while, is it? So
Pops it.
okay, so
Yeah. Hello, chat. You alright?
how are we doing? Yeah, thank you very much. Sorry, I've just I'm looking at, I've got two windows up and I've just realized now for some reason my left hand window isn't synchronizing with the right hand one. So
Oh, that's great
guys,
fun.
thank you very much. Gobster, JWC, Sadako, lovely guys. Thank you. Keeping us company. It's a bit of a crapshoot at the minute, so we're just kind of making it up as we go along.
Oh, look, yeah.
And sometimes they're the
JWC
best.
said if you broadcast it at midnight, the only family watching will be the Addams family.
That's probably the safest bet, to be honest, isn't it? Really? I mean, let's be honest. I mean, even if you had kind of, you know, both options in our favor, I don't think I'd be, you know, excited to get up at midnight to watch it, you know?
No, I wouldn't want to be watching it at midnight. I can't even focus on the screen at midnight.
No.
No.
Way past my bedtime, you know.
Same.
So next little thing on the agenda, a little bit of show and tell. Nice little video. The only problem is now is I've got a million tabs open and now I've got to actually find the right one to present. I think it's that one. So I don't know what you're like for kind of gaming, Rachel. Are you a gamer? Have been? Is it something you know? What's your
Past in the gamer, like old school Crash Bandicoot, old school Tomb Raider. I don't really play games much anymore. I sort of bowed out
yeah?
of it. The only game that I really play nowadays is as boring as it comes, but it's really good. I like it. Is The Sims 4.
Yes, yeah.
Yes. And that's about as far as it goes nowadays.
Hey, look, at the end of the day, if it's what you enjoy, then you know that's what it's all about, isn't it?
Yeah.
So a little bit of background. So Electronic Arts, kind of gaming publishing house, made a start on a Black Panther video game. So that sounds
Oh,
rather exciting.
okay.
And this lovely young lady from Cliffhanger Development is a narrative consultant. She's not a developer as such, but she has some kind of responsibility towards the kind of story and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, now, I don't know if you've seen this because it has been doing the rounds on social media.
No, I
So,
haven't seen it yet.
so she's got some comments about the hiring choices for the studio, and let's just
Mm.
listen to what she says.
I have a team of 21 right now for Validate. It's a pretty big team. It's a crazy big team for indie games. But who is your team? Validate has a team of mostly all people of color. We have no white people on our team. I did that because I wanted to create a safe environment. And I know the best way for an environment to be safe is to be around people who are just like me. And I'm not saying that white people in the industry are creating unsafe environments. I'm not saying that. That is not what I'm saying. I am saying that sometimes it is hard to work with white people because they think that something may be okay, but it was really a microaggression. and no one wants to deal with that while you're trying to make a game that they love.
So there you
Wow.
go. That's a clip from a bigger interview. I mean, I haven't seen the interview. That kind of tells me everything I need to know. But
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on the hiring practice?
Well, there's there's hiring. Yeah, I'm not happy with that.
We cause
And
problems. Apparently, we cause
we
microaggressions wherever we
do,
go.
we do. I mean, do you want me to say it? It's kind of racist. There you go. I go there. I said it. There you go.
There's a whole
Um,
wider thing going on with gaming at the minute. Um, the whole kind of Sweet Baby Inc. and kind of Gamergate 2 and
okay, yeah,
major kind of gaming kind of publishers
yeah.
trying to force kind of woke narratives, for lack of a better term, into gaming, and it's all kind of jumping off on social media and the like. You know, a lot of these people are now worried because recent releases such as Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League performed
Mm,
very poorly.
yeah.
Warner Brothers are probably going to be looking for some heads on that chopping block, um, and so a lot of this is coming out now. Um, Gobster, I completely agree. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that is kind of what's happening now. You know, people are just kind of wising up. Um, but it came to a bit of a climax. There's a gentleman from Brazil
Yeah.
who plays his games on the PC, and what he's done is he's made a list basically of every game that Sweet Baby Inc., who is a woke consultancy firm, have worked on. And that kind of started this whole thing where Sweet Baby Inc. employees were asking for mass reporting, mass flagging, mass banning of this guy, which never happened. But it's kind of created this kind of maelstrom of kind of negativity now against people and against kind of, you know, your narrative consulting firms. Um, I'll be very surprised if there isn't some kind of repercussions to validate Cliffhanger Development, whoever it is, um, because chances are big publishers aren't really going to want to hear that because that's just bringing more attention to their door that they just don't want to deal with.
Not
Um,
not only that, this kind of thing that she's saying here, it also actually draws attention to people's skin color, and it's actually making a deal with out of it, even though she's like making it seem like it's not a big deal.
yeah,
It has become a big deal because she's talking about it. And like these there are work policies that I mean, I'm self-employed now, so I don't deal with work policies. But when I do go into like a subcontract thing where those policies do come in, they're very clearly stated, like, equal opportunities, and this is our policy against things like racism. This is our policy against things like sexism, harassment, whatever it is. And so it's very clear. So her saying that makes me wonder what this company's like what they call it, DEI or whatever it
well,
is,
the thing is, I mean,
that
you
they
can,
have.
and this is kind of what's happening now. You get a little sliver of information like this, and that's kind of what happened with the Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League. And
Mm,
that game went dead on arrival. Nobody played it. A few people did, but it underperformed. And I can see the writings on the wall now for this Black Panther game. You know, in one foul swoop now, you've pretty much doomed the game, which may or may not be all right. But if this is how they're thinking about it, then there's a very good chance that it's going to be full of kind of garbage and nobody wants to play.
it's like an indirect boycott by mistake, isn't it? A bit like,
Yeah,
who is it? Like Rachel Zegler,
yeah,
like when she couldn't talk about anything, and then suddenly everybody found all of this footage of how she, like, slagged off Snow White, and suddenly it's like no one wants to see it. No one
yeah,
wants to know.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So catching up with the chat, B Hop, I did warn you once.
Hey!
Evidently, if I need to warn you again, there won't be a third time. But
Yeah. Don't
he's
make
on
a fish
assignment.
sad.
We've sent him
Suspended.
to brush up on his cooking skills. So. And Gobster, lovely young man. I have no interest in what big companies want to ignore. They hire these people, they pander to them, they sow the seeds, screw them all. Yeah, and I think that's generally the consensus in the kind of gaming world at the minute. A lot of these
Mm.
DEI consultancy firms, departments are now kind of breaking it because at the end of the day, if shareholders, etc., kind of see this, they're going to start swinging the axe kind of sooner rather than later.
Oh,
And
yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't
E-Hop
surprise
is
me at
learning a
all.
lot about himself. Well,
I'm
that's
sure he
good.
is.
So
He should be good.
just as long as you're not doing it in public, so we're going to kind of stick with a little bit of gaming, and you kind of had a little bit of a nod about this already. So, and I was really glad when I found out
Oh, yeah.
So for people in the chat that may or may not know, Rachel did, and I swore I heard this a little while ago, so I did verify earlier, does a little bit of voice acting work. So is it a lot of voice acting, a little bit?
It's
Would you
as it
mind explaining a
comes.
little bit?
Yeah. So I'm an actress and a voiceover artist. That's what I primarily do. Although I haven't worked recently because everything's sort of like a bit of a wash at the moment with regards to casting. So I've just opted out on a lot of roles. But I do paid voiceover jobs. Now, I don't actually do voiceover jobs in gaming, so
Yeah.
I'm not quote unquote an expert in gaming
You're closer
voiceover
than I
jobs.
am, though, I guess.
But I do, seeing as I have my pro mic right here, I do have a fairly decent knowledge about voiceover work. I would say I'm not like there are people out there who are much better than I am because I split between acting and voiceover.
Yeah.
But you know, there are I know something.
So did you? I know obviously, so you've got a little bit of inkling about this. So did
Yes,
you read kind of Zoe's story or
I
post or
did. Yes,
complain?
I did. I heard about it yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I caught myself up on it and I did a video on it. It came out just before we went live actually. So it is here somewhere.
So
My channel.
for people not in the know, so Zoe Alexandria, I'm going to make the assumption identifies one way or the other. Um,
Trans woman.
yeah,
Mm.
shock horror. And was hired by the developers of Dead by Daylight to play. It was two voice acting roles, wasn't it, for the same entity? Um,
Yeah.
so the male and female voices.
Hmm.
I'm even further less kind of knowledgeable about this because I'm not really into horror. So this kind of game is immediately no for me anyway. But basically they hired Zoe to do some voice lining, but she didn't see the character models for what it was that she was voicing. So I'm not sure if that would be relevant, I guess, to a certain degree. But she eventually saw the model, which is this,
Hmm.
which has now jumped into almost instantaneously became meme territory, where you could make certain kind of observations about that image. Yeah, well, and that's basically what's happened. Is that Zoe is now very upset because she has seen the finished product. Um, the only thing that I don't necessarily kind of agree with is that it sounds, if you read this post, it makes it sound like
Yeah.
this whole outcry. People have been. It's the whole thing that
Yeah.
trans
Would
people
you
Minecraft.
would you like me to read it for you?
Do you know what? Actually, that would be fantastic. Do you want me to make it any
Yeah.
bigger?
I can see it. It should be
Thank
all
you.
right. So I voiced the character, the unknown, in Dead by Daylight. At the time of voicing, it was a great experience. I was told at the time I was voicing the character that there was no model and that the creature was supposed to be amorphous. They had no model design before I recorded my lines. So it's my assumption that the design team took my medical history and my ability to use multiple voices as an opportunity to create character models that encapsulate my medical history as trans and capitalize on catering to the transphobic community. I was tricked into voicing a stereotype since yesterday. I have been virally harassed for being trans by thousands of people since yesterday. Many folks in the trans community are up in arms over this, and rightfully so. I feel the reparations from the team that deliberately tricked me is the only logical next choice of action. I am so upset, so infuriated that people are comparing trans people to these clearly transphobic character skins. If I had dun, 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 dun,
Yeah, that
dun.
looks like that's all we have. Interestingly enough, but we get
Now
the idea, don't we?
we
Um,
do. Um, would you like me to offer some insight on it?
yes, yeah, absolutely. Please go ahead.
Now she did actually post a follow-up to that. I'll find it see if I can find it.
Okay.
Um so so just she said she saw no character models. Now the
Yeah.
thing about that is that even if she saw no character models, I don't know how common that is for gaming, but in my experience, we do generally have some sort of sketch sort of outline. And she also, what else did she also say? Can you just scoot back for
Yeah, of
me,
course I can.
please? Thank you. And she also, so there was something else. So she went ahead and she recorded her lines, and then obviously she says all of this about the community being uh, transphobic. No, wait. What did she say? What did she say? Don't want to shoot myself in the foot here. She, you know, it sounds like she's accusing these people who produced the game
Yes. Yeah.
of transphobia. That's what it
Yeah.
sounded like.
Basically,
Yeah.
she seems to think that she's important enough that anybody gives
Yeah.
a shit.
Yeah.
Um,
And now let me just find the other
Yeah,
tweet that she followed up with. Let's see. Found it. Okay. So the tweet that, if you're right for me, just read it from here.
yeah, go for it.
So the tweet that she followed up with was, there has been a recent misunderstanding. Anybody that thinks the skins are going away is not in the loop. Behavior is allegedly aware of mass transphobic remarks and memes being made, and the gaming community is not a reflection of the game developers. I wasn't kept in the loop with what the character's final look would be. I was given an ambiguous description for the part, and even though I tried my best to find out more, continually asking for more info, that wasn't possible. This is why I was upset. The skins themselves were never the issue. Lack of communication was. Now, the issue with saying that is obviously that backtracks on what she had just said
Yeah.
previously. But also we have something called DND, which is do not discuss, or a NDA, which is a non-disclosure agreement. So it could be that the developers of the models and the skins for the unknown, which is what this character is called, might not have actually been allowed to discuss with her outside of the room, like via email. But we don't know what it says
Yeah.
in the contract, so we can't we just don't know if that's the case. However, when she was in the recording room, now I don't know much about Dead by Daylight. I don't know if it's a motion capture or if it would be a studio recording. The director and the producers that are in there would have actually guided her in the direction that they want to go by giving her information in order to actually help her to do that.
Yeah.
And the only decisions that she would technically make and be involved in is how the voice is done, because she's got to go with what's comfortable for her, because otherwise she will ruin her voice if she doesn't. And, obviously she's got to look after it if she's doing voiceover. And now it says the ambiguous description, like the only time really you would get an ambiguous description would be for the audition, because they can't release too much information, because those are DNDs and
The
they
only thing
are
I'd say to that-
NDAs.
The only thing I'd say to that, Rachel, is
Yeah.
obviously this is, I mean, again, I have no knowledge, and I've seen a couple of comments in the chat, and we'll get to you guys.
Yeah.
These are all, these aren't made up horror characters. These are all actual characters from somewhere, from something. So you can't necessarily kind of out and say, well, actually, I didn't have any idea what this was going to be.
Yeah.
Because, either you were too naive to not work it out
Yeah.
and do a little bit of Google research, or dare I say it, you knew what you were getting into, and you were gonna see if you could make a little bit of clout and a little bit of trouble or name for yourself.
Yeah.
And it's horrible to think that, but I wonder, is that possibly the case? So the only reason I'm just going to jump to that, because the chat is going to go in going bananas. So
yeah,
Gobster asks, how the model was a stereotype, and it's not, is it?
well,
you could compare, two things that it's not, is it? It's the incarnation of the monster in female form. So what did this person kind of expect?
well, yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't know much about Deborah. I didn't realize, now that I think about it, I should have known that that they're based on the actual characters, right?
Yeah.
So there's a Sadako run from The Ring, right?
Yes. So
Have I got that
basically,
right? Okay. Yeah.
the games are multiplayer.
Yeah.
Dempsey, hello mate, nice to see you on there. Yes, I think you're absolutely right. So you have 3 or 4 people that kind of act as survivors, like your horror film survivors,
Yeah.
and you have, as far as I'm aware, one super powerful character which serves as the villain. But they're
Mm.
all based. I think even the survivors, they're all based from horror story lore.
I
So,
wonder
like
what
say,
this
you
one is
Ring.
based on then.
Yeah. Again, I go to say, oh yeah, like all your horror films, but I don't really know any. But um, yeah, I completely agree. It's a hilarious situation.
Yeah. I
I
I
think the
think
person knew, and I think they are just looking to get a bit of
yeah.
attention seeking. And I think the
Yeah.
only thing that comes from this is they're reading between the lines now when people are recruiting for voice actors or whatever they're looking for. They're now going to start maybe thinking twice about people, and rightly or wrongly, from a certain demographic minority, because nobody wants to deal with this hassle.
Mm. Yeah. I've pinged the tweet into the chat. Obviously, if people are being harassed and I don't like that sort of thing. But
Is
to
that
be
true
honest,
though?
well, I don't know, but if that is true, I don't like that. But other than that, it's just a game. You go into this game knowing that you're voicing over a
Yeah,
monster
you're
type of
voicing
character.
yeah, a
So
horror villain.
yeah.
What did you expect? Unicorn and rainbows.
Yeah, exactly. And you knew that it was a character that could change its shape. And you knew that it had both male and female voices. So you did both.
Yeah.
Taken, you took that and you did it and you got paid for it. And you should expect it at least. I mean, that's my
I
2 pence.
think, yeah, potentially you've got a bit of, as Gobster said, kind of standard kind of victim kind of culture.
Yeah, I was a bit
That's kind
nicer
of
in my video, but you know, at the end of the day, you are doing a job, you're getting paid for it. You're doing
yeah.
a monster character. You know it's not going to be pretty,
And the
whatever
problem is
it
now
is.
this person now has now made their voice acting career kind of dead on arrival because
Yeah,
she, however they identify,
yeah.
they're now radioactive.
Well, this is
You know,
one of the reasons why I wondered if that's why they put out this like not an apology tweet,
kind of walk
but
back.
just like walked it back because obviously that is a huge risk. And if
Yeah,
she's contracted for more Dead by Daylight, they might not want to work with her after that. I reckon she was probably told to pull back her statements.
possibly. Yeah,
Mm,
possibly. But I think regardless, long term,
yeah,
Zoe has harmed their career because word gets out. I imagine kind of
it
in that
does.
kind of voice acting circle, kind of
Yeah.
word travels fast, and you can never make official blacklists or whatever.
Mm,
But let's be honest, we know these things happen one way or the other. So
yeah. Yeah. I've probably made the blacklist with the BBC now. I'll never work for the BBC again.
you don't have to do much with the BBC, I would imagine. But do you really just have a kind of contrary
No, I
opinion, or
did a
just say to
BBC
defund the
voice
licensing?
thing. I have my BBC credit. It's fine. I can live without it.
Well, absolutely. So, um, I was going to tie this in with just by chance with the this is awful, but with the Dylan Mulvaney music single. Because I did, to be fair, it went under the radar, but I did do a little,
Yes, I'm YouTube famous. I was featured on the comments section with
yeah,
Rhett Cooper.
yeah.
My comment was not me. I wish it was me, but it was.
I'm not going to bring the video up, and I'm sure as hell I'm not even going to play a few. I haven't heard it. I've seen the video clips, etc.
Well, let,
Sorry, chat.
my
And
my
I should have
my
put some kind of trigger warning, shouldn't I?
yeah,
Um,
my ears won't recover from hearing the lyrics. The plus about it is at least Dylan can sing. That's the only
well,
plus.
yeah,
Well, but
but
there's a lot of
originally
auto-tune
I
over
was
it.
going to, I did have another meme. I don't know if you're aware of the gentleman called Ricky Berwick.
Sorry?
A gentleman called Ricky Berwick. So
No,
he he's a kind of social media personality, and he put a meme up comparing this picture to a basically saying that your profile picture looks like this of a animated character, but actually you look like this. And it did the rounds and it became really popular. Um, and Ricky is normally quite he never walks anything back. He kind of says things, a lot of the time to get attention, etc. But he actually walked that meme back and
Oh,
actually apologized for it. He made a little bit of a kind of video trying to go down the comedy route, but you can't take that anything else as an apology. And it's just interesting that this picture is causing so much kind of chaos and destruction on
mm,
social media. I mean, I wonder, do you think there could be any possibility of maybe this character being retracted?
I hope not, actually. Um, I hope not.
Gobster, did you see anyone in the chat? Did anyone see Ricky's apology video? I'd put it up, but
So,
let us know in the chat. Sorry, Rachel, what were you gonna say?
I don't think they should take it back.
Well, whether they should or whether they do are two separate things, I think, aren't they? But
I
it kind
don't
of
know if
dawned
they
on me.
will. I don't know. It depends how much it will harm their sales, won't it?
But I guess from their
Uh,
perspective, they could see a lot of a huge amount kind of meme and negative kind of publicity coming their way and think,
well, it's
you
quite
know,
possible, but at the same time, because of that reaction, is it possible that it will increase their sales? I mean, look what happened to Hogwarts Legacy.
yeah, that's very true. I mean, I think that's what's happened with this image.
Mm,
It Streisand affected, kind of into
yeah, that's
oblivion
what
where
it's called. Yeah.
it's going all over the place. But I do just wonder if I think the Dead by Daylight guys are relatively independent. I could be wrong. Let me know in the chat if I am, but it's not like it's a big gaming studio with a big legal team behind them. If that is the case, I could see maybe the reality where they think actually this isn't worth it. We don't want to be branded as whatever phobes.
Behavior Interactive, they're called.
Yeah, I'm not sure they're protected by any of the big boys, so it's possible.
Yeah,
No, yeah, I
maybe.
completely agree with Gobster. I think at the end of the day, if you're going to say it, I think Ricky
Mm.
Gervais had a famous quote, didn't he, about just say it.
Yeah, yeah,
But I
yeah.
wonder if this is going to bring a bit too much kind of attention to a little studio that they can't deal with, which is sad because this probably this has not been done with the intention to upset anybody.
No, of course not.
It's just one person has taken their shot. It's mutually assured destruction. They may have kind of put the kibosh on this project, but they've ruined their own career as well.
Yeah. So they've sold more than 270,000 copies.
It's a really popular game, I guess, because it's directly aimed, isn't it, at the horror market.
Yeah, it is. As of May 2019, it was sold more than 5 million copies. I don't know if there's any recent figures though. But
I also don't know whether this content is free to the game or whether you have to pay an additional charge.
No, I don't know much about it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, Dempsey. To be fair, I mean, it is proper good marketing, isn't it? It's just whether kind of the studio can hold the line and kind
Well,
of
I
stick
guess
with
we'll
it.
see. I guess we'll see. They might stick by it, they might not. But who knows?
Mm.
Maybe it, like getting on the soapbox and saying this is all because of my my transition
Which
might help
it's
it.
insanity, isn't it?
Yeah, it's also a bit random. It's like you go in knowing, I said it earlier, you go
Yeah, I
in
know, I
knowing
know.
that you're doing a killer,
Okay,
this
so
kind of person,
yeah,
yeah.
it's going to be additional content, so you'd have to have a additional charge.
There's okay. So there's definitely yeah, they're an independent studio, and now one activist will possibly destroy it.
Maybe, and that's what I'm saying is
Maybe.
that reality that they walk it back and go, actually, you know what, we haven't done anything wrong, but obviously this is kind of getting the wrong kind of attention.
Yeah, it
So
is
what were your
getting
thoughts
some
kind
of
of
it.
going back on topic? So the Dylan Mulvaney music single. So
Mm.
did you listen to it then? I mean, were you
I heard it, and I yeah, not all of it, not all of it. I heard the bit that was. I didn't realize I'd actually commented on Daily Wire's post at first, actually, but I heard it on the Daily Wire post. It's interesting, to say the least. It's definitely not one that I would ever associate with girlhood.
That's kind of where I was kind of getting towards. What some comparisons are made. Apparently, being a girl is so easy, so wonderful, and all you do is pills and whatever the hell.
Oh, wow. Yeah, yeah. I'm just trying to pull up the lyrics. Let's see what it
Oh
is.
no,
Yeah, but I won't sing it to you. Don't worry. I don't know the tune.
I think you could probably do a better job, so I wouldn't worry about that too much.
Yeah, probably could. But it's like ring the alarms immediately. We have a code pink emergency. Last look, quick change, sip champagne. Damn, I wasn't even allowed champagne as a girl.
It's
Where are
just
you?
furthering the mockery, you
Yeah.
think? And
Oh,
obviously,
yeah.
you've got more more lyrics.
Oh, here we go. Monday, can't get out of bed. Tuesday morning, pick up meds. That's what you're talking about. Wednesday, retail therapy, cash or credit. I say yes. Thursday, had a walk of shame. Didn't even know his name. This is a bit like Craig David's song, the 7 days.
Oh, don't besmirch Craig. Come on, that's
But no,
brutal.
but that's better. That's better. Craig's song, I mean, not Dylan's song. But it's just like Friday night, I overspend. Saturday, we flirt for drinks, playing wingman to our twinks, whatever wingman is. Sunday, the Twilight soundtrack cues my breaking down in the bath. That's it, pretty much. Oh, and here's an ironic line. The patriarchy's over. You can hold our beer.
I'm gonna try and avoid laughing because it's gonna send me into a coughing fit. But
Sorry, I don't mean
um,
to laugh.
yeah, this is the thing, is it? So yeah, I mean, so what looking at it, we said a second ago about further mocking women, because effectively
Yeah.
what people like to say about him is that he is just wearing woman face, isn't he?
Yeah. I think what people seem to forget is he posted, and I will say he, now,
Because he is a
because
man.
I don't believe that Dylan is trans. Um, he posted the days of girlhood, um, as a joke, the first days of girlhood, and he admitted that in an interview, and
Mm.
then because that got him popularity, he rolled with it, and he just sent people in a frenzy. The only problem is now is if he backtracks on it, he will get hate for that, like massive, massive backlash. Like, you got all these people that love and support him, but as soon as he says that I'm detransitioning, it was just all for my act, that'll be it. Curtain's gone.
But he hasn't properly transitioned, has he? He hasn't had the how to put this politely, the medical uh attention. So
He
all he
did,
is at the minute is just a man in a wig.
yeah, he did a face feminizing surgery. That
He
I
looks like a
know of.
demon. I'm sorry, that nose looks like, he should be in this film, in this game. Without any of this, just get him in there as a killer.
Yeah. But, and he said he was taking HRT, whether or not he is,
Do
I
you
don't know. I
subscribe to
can't
the theory a lot of people
I
have that
I
he's
can't be a judge of that.
he's just fame kind of chasing? There's some
Yeah.
clips of him from before all of this kind of stuff where he was chasing his kind of star. I agree, Kelly, as well. Thank you, and nice to see you in the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree.
So, back when he first sort of, like, came about, like, I just said Dylan or they, rather than sort of, like, giving him his she pronoun,
Yeah,
because I thought he looked like, in general, like, good fun, but eventually I just ended up transitioning to he, because it's back to he, because it's like it's a mockery. It is a
yeah.
stereotype of what a woman actually is, and
They
I
make it
feel
sound so simple, don't they? When you listen
yeah,
to, they're all focused on certain things, but they make it so easy when they've got no idea. because how would
Yeah.
a man know what it's like to be a woman? Because funnily enough, we're not. That's kind of the point.
That is the point. Yeah, absolutely. There's something called, I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but The Method. Have you ever heard of The Method?
No.
So that's a type of acting by Konstantin Stanislavski, and it's all about asking the questions and sort of like living the character. They have
Oh, method acting. Sorry. Okay.
yeah,
Yes.
method
Sorry. I thought you were referring to
acting.
something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
sorry, we
Yes.
call
I'm
it
with
The
you on that
Method.
wavelength. Yeah.
The Method. And there's a theory that goes around that that's partly what caused the demise of Heath Ledger, because he lived it and breathed it so much for the Joker,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And I think essentially what Dylan is doing here is he's applying just a form of method acting. Now, he
Yeah.
is an actor, he is a trained actor, and we know that. So I think that's all he's doing. It's just method.
No, I completely agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Completely agree. I think it's a one big con.
Yeah.
But when we talk about him, his exit strategy, in reality, all he's got to do is now say, "Well, I identify as a man," and what can they do, really? If they say and
Mm,
challenge him, all they're doing is proving themselves to be hypocrites because that's what this is all about.
yeah. Yeah.
Yes, I completely agree with Mr. Gobser. Really appreciate it. Like, share, subscribe. I think I've got everyone's details kind of in the description of the stream. So yes, definitely hit that like button. So
Yeah. Actually, Kelly, I heard that Blair White believes that Dylan is trans. Blair White still has man bits and believes that Dylan is trans. I think he's clout
yeah.
chasing. Yeah. But does she still believe that though? I mean, she didn't at first, and then she changed her mind. I remember watching a video where she said about that she actually now believes that he's trans. I can't remember which video it was though.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she
It's a
I
strange
don't know
one,
if
isn't
she's
it?
changed her mind. Maybe she will release a video. I don't know if she has recently about
Well,
this
anything's
Dylan
possible, isn't
thing.
it?
Yeah,
Right, okay. Before we move on to the next topic, this is
yeah.
the problem of only having kind of two people. I need to disappear from the keyboard for 2 seconds, so I shall return. Play nicely in the chat.
Hello, chat. Hope you're doing well. I'm all by myself. It has been a few months. Yeah. I'm gonna have a look, see if I'm surprised that Blair White hasn't actually commented on it. I like Blair. Who does anyone here like Blair? She tells it as it is. Hello, Gobstar. No, she hasn't released anything on it yet. Oh, I'm gonna watch out to see if she does. Number one is the loneliest moment. Yeah, particularly because I don't actually have. Tuna's got it all. Tuna's got everything that we're covering today, and I don't have any of it. So I don't know what to do. I just don't know what to do with myself. We'll get a copyright strike if we sing that one, won't we? Oh, she is. That Blair is really funny. She's just like no holds barred. She just goes in. She goes for the jugular like that. Probably, yeah. Probably has. It's fine. I'll just talk to the chat.
I'm back. Okay.
Oh, he's back.
So literally, those of us just kind of joined us. So we're kind of playing it by ear at the minute. So we should be joined by the lovely Joe Bonoli. He's missing in action. So B-Hop I have banished from the kingdom for the show.
Yeah.
So we're kind of playing it by ear at the minute. So I'm not very well, hence why I'm talking a very deep voice. So I just need to refill me water and just kind of get me get myself ready to go. So
there you go.
Okay, so next little bit. So it looks like there could be a slight change in the air at Marvel. So it looks potentially like some projects have been given the big KO, with apparently Big Bob Iger, personally shutting down the Eternal sequel. Now, I can't believe they were even thinking of doing an Eternal sequel.
I didn't even know they were doing it until just then.
You get us into So he's the general thought process is Bob, who's not in a very fantastic position at the minute, presumed it was going to be a failure. Well, that's something I think that we can all agree with because the first Eternals wasn't that great. I can neither confirm or deny what was refilled. Thank you. So yeah, it looks. Let's go back to the top. So potentially Ant-Man 4, Captain Marvel 3, good lord, and Eternals 2 have been shut down. So now the article, I had a quick kind of flick through it. The article doesn't necessarily specify what the situation is with Ant-Man 4 and Ant-Man 4. I mean, how far do you go with these things? But I think it's more important that Bob is perhaps going to get out of his chair and kind of shut these projects down. So, what are your thoughts? Should Disney just be letting it ride? I mean, are they trying to course correct, or are they trying to?
I think they are trying to course correct, particularly with Captain Marvel, because the second one died, didn't it? It just went flat.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
I didn't see
because
it.
the writing was on the wall for it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it didn't appeal to me. I mean, I don't watch many superhero movies anyway. I mean, I've told you that like X-Men is, and then some of the others maybe. But yeah, I mean, I kind of figured that Captain Marvel would have been off the cards because I think a little while ago, Brie Larson pretty much confirmed it without saying it.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did an interview and they were asking about Captain Marvel 3 or something like that. And she was like, oh, there's nothing on the cards.
She had that little hissy fit, didn't she? I think after the first movie, didn't she? About with an interview on the red carpet for something. And she's like, well, I don't know. Did anybody want me back? And I think, no, not really.
Not really, no.
But we don't want to be rude about it. But
you're right. It's like how far do you take these sorts of films? I mean, there's another Toy Story coming out, isn't there? Or is there not now? But it's like how far do you go? There's nothing new. There's nothing original.
I think a new, I say a new, a Toy Story sequel probably would still have the ability to make a few pennies.
Yeah, well, it's Toy Story.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Yeah, I mean, after the Lightyear kind of fiasco, but
I never even watched it. It never appealed to me.
No. I mean, so Dempsey goes on to say MCU needs a reboot. I think a lot of people are thinking the same thing, or just stop. They're never going to stop. There's no chance. Now Disney have got that kind of license. They're always going to be kind of turning it out one way or the other.
Yeah, I think people are also crying, oh, it's superhero fatigue, The thing about...
Or is it just bad movie fatigue?
Yeah, it's quite possibly that people get bored and angry with being preached at.
Yes.
And
which is what's happening in the gaming space now as well.
Yeah. And funny enough, Bob Iger said it himself like a little while ago, that day that Elon Musk absolutely burned him. It was just like being able to tell a good story without like preaching, or I can't really remember what he said, but it was something along those lines. But Disney in recent years haven't been able to do that. They've been preach. Yeah. And their goals have become to not tell stories. Is to dictate to everyone and say, this is what you will listen to. So much so that it takes like family of the people who the man who originally directed Snow White to come out of the woodwork and say, no, you're just dumping over everything.
It, aren't you?
Yeah,
and just making it into what the Little Mermaid as an example. And it doesn't. I don't think it will stop in one way or the other. I mean, just looking at even what could happen, I think the voting for the Disney board members is still up in the air, isn't it? I think that is April the 1st.
Yeah, and there was something about buying votes as well, wasn't there?
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
But even if you could get Pelt's Trian Group on the board, that's only 2 people out of what, 12, 13, however it is.
True.
As long as Bob wants to continue going in this direction, that's what they're going to do. But it's interesting that he's looking at some of these projects now and going, actually, do you know what? Maybe. And of course, if he thinks it's bad, what the fuck would the film turned out to have been?
Yeah, exactly.
I actually want them to release it, to be fair, because if he's thinking it's going to be that bad, maybe they should just release it anyway. Like Warner Brothers kind of Batgirl. They should have just released it. Just let
it go. That, didn't they, Warner Brothers?
Yeah, but it was apparently it was pretty much ready to look at.
Yeah. They
Let's
should have
look
just
at it. What is
rolled
it?
with it because they're going to roll with Snow White, guaranteed. They will not back out of Snow White, even though they
No, no.
delayed it. I mean, I reckon they delayed it because of Daily Wire as well,
Yeah,
releasing that
quite
their
possibly. I
one.
mean, pardon me, sorry. Yeah, I think the whole thing with kind of the maelstrom around kind of Rachel Zegler as well. Um, I mean, she was just literally just tail spinning
Yeah,
any possibility of the film getting goodwill with kind of cinema goers into oblivion.
yeah, that's true. That's very true. Also, I think a very telling sign is apparently I can't remember if this is true or not, so don't hold me to it. There was something about Bob Iger selling off a lot of his stock.
Yes, yeah. I did a little video on that
Oh,
a couple of weeks
did you?
back when I was
I
still
didn't see it.
yeah,
Um,
he still owns a little bit. I can't remember the details now, but
mm,
he did sell a massive chunk, giving the possibility that maybe he's looking at abandoning ship.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. I wondered if he was going to abandon ship soon.
So is this maybe kind of Big Bob's damage control for when he finally leaves?
Yeah,
Well, look, I told them they shouldn't be doing this. I told them that they should be cancelling certain projects. When actually, it was Bob all along. I mean, we've still got Deadpool 3, I think, this month, haven't we? This month, next
yeah,
month.
it's the Deadpool
Um,
and Wolverine, isn't it?
yes.
Mm.
So I'm also making a mistake, multitasking on the chat. But then straight after that, you've got this Agatha Harkness, whatever the hell they're calling it, that 5 different title rewrites, Agatha's Teenage Angst Diaries or Darkhold Diaries or whatever the hell.
Is that
Um,
Disney?
yeah, yeah. So
Wow, I didn't know that was Disney.
that's a spin-off from WandaVision, isn't it? Um,
Yeah.
because and rumor has it they had the catchy Agatha All Along song.
Mm.
Because it was so popular, they decided to move along and do a whole fucking series on it.
Oh,
Um, and very much in the vein of Echo, you can't just keep shredding this stuff,
BBC, not BBC. Sorry, I got BBC on the brain today. Disney need to actually sit down and have a good look at what it is that they're doing. If they are thinking that they're going to have to can these films, then just they need to have a look at last year and say, right, what's worked, what hasn't worked, pretty much nothing. Then look at their competition and see what successes they've had. There was Barbie. There was Oppenheimer, and they were released at same time,
Yeah.
and both did really well. And there was Disney released what Guardians of the Galaxy, and
That was the
that
last Marvel film to do quite well, wasn't it? Guardians 3, I think.
but it only barely broke even. And then the biggest New Year success was Wonka. Um, and like they were all different companies. None of the successes came from Disney. They were all different companies. So, they need to have a look at their competition and see what the competition is doing different. Surprisingly, it wouldn't actually be catering for the viewers, would it?
Well, I mean, Warner Brothers aren't, to be fair. if you made that direct comparison to Warner Brothers, who closest in the view, I
Well,
mean, it's not like they're much better, I
I
guess.
saw
But
Wonka. Wonka was fine. I saw Wonka. It was fine.
what's the oh Wicked? That's Universal, isn't it? And that looks like it could potentially be a little bit of a dumpster fire.
Yeah. I mean, have you seen the stage version of Wicked?
I haven't, no,
Okay, you're
unfortunately.
not missing much. Don't worry. Um, I mean, it could be a dumpster fire. I haven't seen any trailers for it yet. I'm surprised they went with Ariana Grande in the Glinda role.
Yeah,
I would have thought that you would perhaps have needed more of an operatic person because that character is quite. She hits some notes. Let's just put it like that. She hits some notes. The trailer
the trailer
sucked.
sucks. Gobster says,
Oh,
yeah, that was kind of
okay.
my fault, but some people did like it. I mean, could it just be a Marmite effect? But
Oh, yeah, it could be a Marmite effect.
Wicked was never needed. But that's the problem, isn't it? They don't care whether they need it; they just want to do it anyway.
It wasn't needed. The musical wasn't needed either. I mean,
Mm.
the original musical, I think it's overrated, to be honest.
But we're still getting it one way or the other.
We're getting it. We're getting it. We're not getting
So
a Wizard of Oz.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, there were all the kind of diversity that could go with that. I mean, so Red Sonja. I'd be honest, I don't know. I mean, a bit of clarity there. So I don't know a huge amount about the character. I would probably wrongly associate it with Conan in some way.
Yeah.
But I get the idea that potentially a female kind of Conan comparison could be made. Um, so they're making a film about it, apparently, which is again something I didn't know. With this star Matilda Lutz basically slamming the source material for being made with a very, very male-gazed orientation, saying the new film is very women-empowered. So, as our resident woman, um, what do you think about another very woman-empowered film?
Do we have to?
I'll let that sink in for a second.
um, male-gazed orientated film. What does that even mean? I'm not here for it, really, to be honest. I mean, like,
See, the original was apparently the original was played by Bridget Nelson, so but maybe that's where I'm thinking of it.
oh God, just to blaspheme there. Sorry. Who was it who played it? Bridget Nelson, did you say?
Yes.
I'm gonna have a look. So I don't know. We don't really. Do we really need these? Do we
I mean,
really?
I'm just
need these
wondering,
in
is
a
this
film?
don't know if the guys in Jack and the Lion, is this a Marvel character or is this a comic character that's crossed over to Marvel?
Oh, okay. I see what you mean.
I'm just wondering because of the Spider-Man.
Oh yeah.
So is
I
this
didn't see that
another bastard Marvel film coming out of left field that nobody really knew about it?
The thing is, I don't actually go over on these like superhero female led films. Because they're just not, well, to me, they're not that
Oh, it's
appealing.
D&D, okay. I'm just being kind of educated on the fly about what this is.
And the demographic, I think, is off. Because like these superhero
Are you telling me that
comics,
cinemas aren't going to be having massive queues out to street level because they want to see another film that's very women empowered?
the thing is, I don't think so. They'd queue out the door for Jason Momoa in Aquaman. They would, but
Could he do a Conan? Could that be I don't know if there's a Conan film in the works, but okay, so apparently right, okay, yeah, so it is a character in the Conan universe. Okay, so
I'm being educated too.
yeah, I'm partially, do you know what I mean? So maybe again that's where I've picked it all from. So what's the Marvel relation then, guys? So what's the Spider-Man relation? Is that just a crossover that occurred then? But so what do you think about the male gaze then? Because this is something that again that's been rearing its head over the last kind of week or so.
What does it mean by male gaze?
I'm making the assumption it's about where a man looks a woman or a man identifying as a woman, and finds that person attractive. I guess I don't know if that's the more simplified version of it.
Right, so hang on a minute. So like let me just get my head around this because apparently I am a bit of a
isn't it?
yeah. So it's a man just watching, drooling over women.
I guess so. Yeah, yeah.
Sort
I
of
mean,
thing.
or potentially just looking at.
Source
So this
I
time
mean,
keeps on kind of rearing its head kind of every now and then. It's I'm going to make the assumption they feel
okay.
the same way that it's bad for women to there's a female gaze. So like you say with Jason Momoa.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, I think I said this to you the other day when I remember I commented on the Tomb Raider and I hadn't actually seen a the latest version of Tomb Raider and I said,
Yeah.
well, if men want the boobs, hips and the butt, then give them the boobs, hit in the butt, hips, and the butt.
As long as it's
And
going both ways, isn't it? As long
yeah,
as there are characters made for women and there are characters also being made for men.
and I'm just looking at pictures of the character now, and it is very clearly made for men.
Not now.
100%.
It's now being made for very women-powered people.
Oh, well, we don't need that, do we? We got Jason Momoa.
Well, there's no such thing as female gay. Surprise, surprise. Pops said, yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing. It only ever seems to work one way, doesn't it? In the direction of kind of white males, doesn't it?
I mean, to be honest with you, I don't see a problem with it.
I think it's just another instance, isn't it, of just
They're trying
making
to.
up. Go on.
I saw a picture of Harley Quinn the other day, the recent Harley Quinn from the Kill the Justice League, and it's almost like they're trying to defeminize women.
That's something that's cropping up in gaming a lot as well. Yeah, kind of
Yeah,
making women more masculine.
yeah, and Spider-Man's girlfriend, wife, whatever her name is. What's her name?
Mary Jane, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say Sarah Jane, but I knew that's Doctor Who. Yeah, I thought that she'd been the most like recent picture I'd seen of her as well. I'd been sort of defeminized.
Yeah.
Um,
Interestingly enough, the same consulting company gave narrative consultation, that being Sweet
mm,
Baby Inc. So they were involved in both those projects.
mm,
There's another one as well from a game called Fable, where I think it's more blatant, where it is basically just a man with long hair. And that was rumored to be a self-insert from a man identifying as a woman in the studio. But these people expect us to just buy this stuff and just kind of, just kind of sup it all up.
yeah, and Red Sonja is comic book, right? So, I mean, again, like I said, the demographic is off in this respect, but I- give the men what they want. I wouldn't be going to
I
see
think as
this
long as it's
type of
being
film.
done in both directions, there shouldn't be a problem with that. I mean,
Yeah.
Kelly was saying that Mary Jane is supposed to be a runway kind of model, and when you compare that to,
Yeah.
as you say, the recent kind of gaming kind of releases, like it's
Yeah, I
there's no
mean,
way,
after I saw that Lara Croft picture, I went and looked up the Harlequin.
Agree.
Yeah, and like, wow, it's just like, and I actually looked up the Margot Robbie, the original Margot Robbie Harlequin, and that's a very Margot Robbie is very pretty anyway, but that's a really pretty version of Harlequin, and then her second one is not so pretty, and then
Well, the second
there's a,
film, sorry.
there's a Harlequin 2, isn't there? Or there was I don't know what the films
Oh
are.
yeah, you had Birds of Prey, I think it was called, wasn't it? Yeah,
Yeah.
that was with the three kind of female leads, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's all like almost like they defeminized her. And then I think is it Lady Gaga who's going to be Harlequin in the next one?
You mean Lady Gaga, best friend of Dylan Mulvaney, Lady
Yeah,
Gaga.
that Lady Gaga, yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's just like a completely different look altogether for the
Do
Harlequin.
you think that film's going to do well? Bit of a kind of off topic again in the chat as well. So I'm doing my best to keep caught up, but doing the chat as well.
Is
I mean,
it
the
musical
budget for the
based?
first Joker was like 20 million, wasn't it, or something like that?
Something like that.
But the second one apparently is 200 million. And you kind of, again, I'm kind of operating on a fuzzy head, but
Is it Lady Gaga doing it?
it is, yeah, it is Lady
Yeah,
Gaga.
I
Yeah,
did
yeah,
get
you're
it
absolutely
right.
right.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, it is Lady Gaga. I don't
Um,
know. Is it going to be musical based?
apparently, there is some musical elements to it.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, I'll be honest, and this is probably an opinion that's going to inflame people in the chat. I didn't like the first Joker. I didn't like it at all. I don't know why. I just couldn't connect with it. I think it's Heath Ledger syndrome. At the time when I watched it, all I wanted to see was a Heath Ledger kind of character. I wasn't interested in seeing anybody else. Yeah, unfortunately, there you go. Look, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
apologies. It is what it is,
Heath Ledger
Um,
got so into it that there's just one scene I'll never get out of my head, and it's the pencil
yeah, the magic trick.
thing.
Oh yeah.
Never get that out of my head ever.
It just seemed, and you probably got people that disagree with that. That he wasn't the best kind of Joker, but yeah, I think for me, Heath Ledger was gonna, wear that character. I did like Jack Nicholson's Joker as well, to be fair. But again, that's not necessarily a popular opinion. But yeah, I mean, look, first Joker was fantastic. Great performance by Joaquin Phoenix. Um, I'm not going to say people are wrong. I mean, more people say that they like it compared to one person saying they don't. But it just wasn't for me, brother. And yeah, a lot of kind of Heath Ledger kind of love in the comments as well.
Yeah, Nicholson was good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did like the original kind of Batman films, kind of
Mm.
returned. Wasn't too keen on obviously the Forever and Batman and Robin. They were okay. I thought they were very camp and very kind of
Yeah.
almost going to do a comedic effect. But
Yeah.
so serious business.
Oh.
So,
This is the one that you mentioned earlier that I actually didn't know anything about. So this will
yeah.
be I'm gonna be learning something, chat.
So I'll be honest, in my man flu state, I haven't fully read the article. I just kind of saw it. I was like, oh, grab it, bookmark it, and we'll come back to it. So, so the future of comedy looks bleak after SNP's Hate Crime Act comes into force April 1st. Now, I'm going to make the fatal assumption that this is not an April Fool joke because the SNP are involved in it. So,
Yeah, for those who don't know, it's the Scottish National Party.
yes, not nationalist,
Yeah.
not people in kilts doing terrorist activities. Yeah, I think this is the way we're going. So, the first bit here, I'm gonna skip. Basically, it's very long-winded, but it's basically saying what comedy is going to look like, which is sterile, not actually being funny, just explaining something that is going on. So, top line, an Irish person, Scottish person, English person walk into a bar in Glasgow. The Irish person, he, him says, and it goes on from there. So that's the direction that we're going to be looking at. So sterilize. Well, it's not comedy, is it? I mean, if there's no punchline, if there's no kind of end game part, it's not comedy, is it? You just you're just giving a sentence, aren't you? Surely.
Oh yeah. There's nothing remotely funny about it.
So the article goes on to say, to a certain extent, the sanitized version is the future of comedy and indeed conversation in general after April 1st, when many believe it will become illegal in Scotland to cause offence to another person. The Hate Crime and Public Order Scotland Act itself is open to interpretation, but there can be no doubt that lots of people will report hate crimes to the police, and we know who they are. And as things stand, the police are obliged to record them all based on that individual's interpretation. Which is, I'm just going to stop reading that. What are your thoughts on that initial?
Oh, it's awful, isn't it? I don't.
Gobs is getting rolled up in the chat. Yeah, I know exactly the direction you're going. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's terrifying, isn't it?
It is.
We're already Labour already for England already want to implement something similar. They're pretty much in power, aren't they, in the next election? So
Oh yeah, they're gonna get it, I think. I mean, time will tell. I mean, it's not that far off, but time will tell with that. But yeah, I mean, it's like it's terrifying because it is actually removing a freedom of expression, a freedom of speech. It's like, why do you have to explain something? I mean, and it's almost like it's apologizing for it as well. And you're gonna be treading on eggshells.
well, in
You,
Scotland, I mean, I always thought the Scottish were quite an emotional kind of banterous kind of people,
oh
but
yeah, me too. But apparently not.
I mean, the article goes on to say it won't just be comments made in public or on social media either. The new laws also apply to potentially offensive views expressed in the privacy of your own home. Well, it's not private then, is it?
No.
Raising the potential for some rather awkward intergenerational moments around the dinner table. Better not invite Granny and Grandad round for Christmas this year. The kids might report them to the police.
Oh God. Get your own grandparents arrested.
And but the thing is, you see on the TikTok, which
Mm,
hopefully will be banned in the US. Um, you could see these absolute mentally ill deviants, and they would do it.
they
There are
would.
people in the generation coming up that would do this.
I mentioned J.K. Rowling earlier. She said because she is in Scotland,
Yeah,
right? And now, obviously, like we say, she's got money. She's not going to be affected by this. But the amount of people, we've already had it with India Willoughby, but the amount of people that are going to report her for a joke that she's made is going to be unbelievable.
yeah. Wonder
Unbelievable.
if,
They will take advantage of it and they will try.
but I wonder if
Yeah.
it'll go in such a direction that the police will. It's just mass reporting, isn't it? It's going to
Yeah,
be interesting because we're going to find out from April 1st, I guess.
I guess so. I mean, yeah, absolutely. What would that mean for comedians?
That's exactly what this is saying because it says about private environment. So if you were doing a comedy show and you said something offensive, well,
Hmm.
offensive,
Yeah.
offensive,
Yeah.
um, somebody could report you to the police, and you could have them kind of coming at your door saying, "Well, you made a, I mean, again, you compare that to Ricky Gervais. I don't know, think they would have
I
the
was
same
just
effect."
thinking, Ricky Gervais, and the other one that I was thinking of, I don't know if he's going to Scotland, but Isaac Butterfield, the Australian comedian, he's going to be
Mm,
on tour, and he is, he can crack the whip with the jokes. I think he's quite funny, but a lot of people, well, someone tried to take him to court or something because he told a joke. So I mean, and
I haven't, Gob. So sorry. Apparently, there's an advert which doesn't surprise me. Um,
I haven't seen
yeah,
it
sorry,
either.
Rachel. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, no, it's just I think if he does actually go to Scotland, they could easily call the police on him because he is very much like Ricky Gervais, right? Very much.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I think we were having a little bit of a mini discussion earlier, weren't we? That
Yeah,
if you have money, it's not the same as not having money for obvious reasons. And when you've got a fleet of lawyers, ready, they won't even get
yeah,
past his dressing room door, I wouldn't think.
okay.
But
So
it
that
sets
is
it sets the
true.
stage, doesn't it?
Yeah. So what about uh that that Wonka experience thing that happened a
Oh
little while
Lord,
ago,
yeah.
that comedy thing that happened in Glasgow. Well, it wasn't really comedy, but one of the actors there is a comedian, and he's planning to go on tour, and he moved to Glasgow because he did research that,
Mm,
to find out which was the, like, quote, unquote, "funniest city," and so he found out that it was Glasgow, so he moved to Glasgow. So what's he gonna do now if this comes into
get
play?
arrested.
Yeah, exactly.
Copster, if you're having
Come back.
problems posting the link, if you want to bump it to me in Discord, and I'll bring it up and we'll have a little look.
Obviously, yeah. Like, if they got money, they probably haven't got too much to worry about. But
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and at the end of the day, they could just fly to a non-judicial Cuba or kind of somewhere, and
yeah. It's like if you
yeah.
tell a joke like that, do you actually have to say the barman, the bar person, whatever it was, he, him? Do you have to
Well,
say it that way?
potentially because you could have somebody say, "I find that offensive because you weren't using the barman's pronouns." This is the idiocy that we're going to go and circle the drain on because it's never ending. Where do you draw the
Yeah.
line?
Well, yeah, because then once you start policing that, you're gonna start policing other things.
Yeah.
So maybe it's a test in the water. Maybe they're testing comedy first, and like you say, Labour seems to be hot on the heels of something like this as well.
Bear me
This
2
is
seconds. I'm
scary stuff.
just receiving the link from Copster about this
Ooh,
advert.
yeah, I'm interested. I mean, in many respects, it's kind of good that the Scottish National Party don't govern our government down here, and it's just.
Yeah, but
I
yeah,
mean,
like we were
obviously, we had
saying, I
the
mean,
representatives
we're
here.
we're not that far away from that though, are
No,
we? So here
no,
we
but
are. So
imagine.
have you Have you met the Muffin Man? I mean, the Hate Monster. Sorry. So the Hate Monster represents the feeling some people get when they're frustrated and angry and taken out on others because they feel they need to show they're better than them. In other words, they commit a hate crime. The hate monster loves it when you are angry. He weighs you down till you end up targeting someone just because they look or act different to you. When you're feeling insecure or angry, the hate monster feeds on that. It's all rather dramatic, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Oh,
I didn't
I
think
don't like the
that.
wording.
So, why do some people let the hate monster in? We know that young men aged 18 to 30 are most likely to commit hate crime, particularly those from socially excluded communities who are heavily influenced by their peers. That's a bit of profiling there, isn't there? I mean, is that in
Yeah,
itself
I was going to
illegal?
ask you, do you think that's demographically correct? Uh, uh, I mean, oh, wow.
Coming to a Labour government near you.
Coming soon.
Let's have a quick skip through. So, don't let the hate monster rule your life. If you've committed or feel you're at risk of committing a hate crime, remember, it doesn't make you feel better. Maybe for a moment, but in the end, you feel worse.
Actually, I have no words. It's just, oh my gosh.
A police record for hate crime is not a good look on anyone. Go on, be good to yourself. Don't feed the hate monster.
So literally, it's just going to be words now that cause a hate crime in Scotland. That is what it is essentially saying. I mean, I think we learned with JK and India Willoughby that that really shouldn't be the case, right? You
But is
actually
that
have to
again the difference
prove.
between
You
people
have to.
with money and people without money? I mean, if
Well,
you were to go on the same
I,
offensive,
I think. Well, well, with the India Willoughby one, I think the all the police would have to do is actually look at the tweet that J.K. Rowling sent, and then look at the person who actually brought India Willoughby into the conversation, and be like, "Yeah, there's nothing there." That would be, because it wasn't J.K. Rowling who instigated that; it was somebody else.
yeah,
But I can't remember where I was going with that point.
that's okay.
It was
Um,
going somewhere.
but it's interesting when we saw like that video in the first or second instance about the narrative consultant saying that we don't hire white people, etc.,
Yeah,
etc. I mean, obviously they're not in Scotland, so I guess, but if you were a citizen in Scotland and you found that offensive, I wonder. I mean, they wouldn't do anything about it because it's discriminating against white people, and that just seems to be the proverbial color of the month, year, decade. But how far do you go if you're in Scotland and somebody doesn't use your pronouns in Brazil? What are the police supposed to do about it? Or,
exactly.
for example, if you're using a virtual private network, and you could be in the UK, but you're actually bouncing your signal from wherever. Again, how
Yeah,
does that work? And, the police aren't necessarily going to be able to investigate that properly because the
yeah,
whole point of using a virtual private network is
yeah,
that, unless of course the government start kind of double dealing in that information, that's something that's on the cards as well, I guess.
yeah.
Um,
Gobster says, "Look carefully." It says white male, and I'm just
yeah,
looking at it now. It does, yeah. It says
yeah,
they may have deep-rooted feelings of being socially and economically disadvantaged, combined with ideas about white male
yeah.
entitlement. What does
Dempsey,
that
thank you very
even
much for
mean?
joining us, mate. You take care.
What does that even mean? Tuna, you have white male entitlements?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not in the age bracket, obviously, being,
Mm,
I mean, I'm being, 502. Um, but yes, and I mean, if they didn't put that age bracket in and that whole thing
yeah,
about young white men, the most evil entity on the planet,
yeah,
you could maybe have chosen some language
yeah,
to support it about, being kinder to each other or whatever. They just go straight for the jugular, don't they? Young white males, you scum, you are always on the offensive to be kind of rude, offensive. When look, I mean, all I'm saying is I don't see many white people looting targets.
yeah. I'm gonna say one thing, that this would be incredibly difficult to police. incredibly difficult.
yeah, I mean, I feel for Police Scotland, whoever it is,
Yeah,
because I imagine a lot of officers aren't going to be happy that, I imagine, Scottish people are proud of the heritage, and,
of
Scottish police
course.
officers probably are by default proud that they are such. And imagine now being the, sorry, Seamus or whatever, I don't know his Scottish names, you're not going to that murder, robbery, whatever. You need to go speak to someone identifying as they, them, because they've been miss whatever the hell.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh.
we're literally staring into kind of the abyss, aren't we, with this?
Of course, yeah. And they've got to be so impartial, and really all they do is they arrest the people and they gather the evidence and then take it to the judge. But they're going to be at the forefront of this. They're going to get a
Yeah.
lot of abuse. A lot of abuse.
JWC, thank you, mate. So encouraging self-hate is an effective tactic. It makes you feel guilty and weak. A cultural grenade chucked by the media. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I mean, this is ridiculous.
And like
Wow.
we're saying, this is coming our way, isn't it? When you've got
Uh,
Keith the shoemaker, or the shoemaker's son, or whatever he kind of goes on about.
yeah. I mean, when's our election? It's soon, isn't it? They've started the rip
Yeah, I
up. This
mean,
is scary, man.
probably says. I mean, Labour are running a social media campaign, aren't they? Where they're calling
Yeah,
Select Chicken,
I
and
sh
I'm like,
yeah, that was
this is the problem with
stupid.
politics. Like you're just too blind to see it that you're all just as bad as each other.
Yeah, that was stupid. I mean, that's a very conservative thing to do.
Yeah, completely
And
agree.
there's 2 elections this year. There's the American election as well, isn't there? Is the
Yeah, that's going to be curious, isn't it? That's going to get
yeah.
the maniac wailing.
Yeah.
So,
Ours is 2025.
oh, brilliant. Well, we've got a little bit of time. We need to get it all out. Say everything you need to now, so you don't.
Yeah, like offend anyone, like intentionally or
So,
unintentionally. Sorry.
no, it's right. Carry on.
No, I'm finished.
So this isn't a fantastic. When I loaded this originally, it was loading pictures, but for some reason, it's a bit bland. But just an interesting little tidbit from Nicolas Cage regarding National Treasure. I don't know if you saw the first 2 films. I saw them, but I don't remember them.
I think I saw the first one, but I can't remember it. I mean, I've seen a couple of things with Nicolas Cage in.
I think it's one of those films that you either really like it or
Yeah, it's a
a bit of
Marmite one.
obscurity. But either way, it's a Disney property. And Nick was asked about what's going on with National Treasures 3, and he pretty much just said it's down to Disney and there's nothing effectively. There was a
I'm not surprised. Yeah, I think I did see the first one.
stating bluntly that no, there's no National Treasure 3, and there was another comment somewhere. Oh Jesus, he's looking. He basically is just kind of sticking the boot into Disney, saying it's all down to them. It's nothing to do with me. Leave me alone. Which I think is just kind of Nicolas Cage's MO at the minute, isn't he? Just leave me alone. I'm doing all these weird and wonderful films,
Yeah, and
I think,
Should
I think like Gob says, I think, they're probably fantastic to watch, but
and it's that question of, do we really need another one?
not to the standards of Disney now, no.
No. I mean, if you take, like if you make a trilogy like Pirates of the Caribbean or whatever, I mean, they went too far with Pirates of the Caribbean, but doing the trilogy was fine.
Yeah. There was a TV series, if memory serves. There was a
What,
National Treasure TV series
National
on Disney
Treasure?
Plus.
Oh, I don't have
I
that.
think it had a female lead. Now, whether it was any good, I couldn't tell you. I mean, it's all too easy to assume that it's not. I mean, it could have been perfectly serviceable, but yeah, as far as the films go, yeah, okay, there you go. Did a series with Mexican illegal. Hey, you won't be able to say that much longer. And
Gob's just getting it out of the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just
Yeah.
you're gonna have a blue air of everyone just gonna screaming profanities.
Yeah. Let's scream them now. I'll be going down anyway. I'll be sharing a cell with J.K. Rowling, so it's fine.
So moving on, that was just a quick little. I was hoping the pictures would load, but
yeah, Screen Rant's a bit glitchy, isn't it?
me for the awkward silences while I mute my microphone. So I think we had a bit of conversation about X-Men 97 a little while ago.
Oh,
So there's been some bits and pieces, a little bit of points of controversy regarding kind of one of the characters being non-binary versus a shapeshifter. But it's coming out in a couple of weeks, isn't it?
hmm
And it's interesting that one of the lead creatives, Bo DeMeo, has been fired or left the project before season 1 even premieres.
that's interesting. I find it interesting
Oh,
that that
look
happened.
who it is.
Yeah, I saw that.
Bonnie, so I'm going to
Oh,
ban you from this chat as a punishment. You know
yeah,
what you're getting.
yeah.
Um, Are you an X-Men fan, Rachel? Well, we mentioned it. Apologies, so I'm
Uh,
working on a 10% brain
yes.
power.
I'm not entirely up to date with what's going on here. I heard something about this. But yes, I am an X-Men fan. I watched the original cartoon
Yeah.
when I was a kid. I never had the comics. I wasn't allowed comics growing up, so I'm
Okay.
not well versed on them. But how would I have been when I actually would have seen the cartoon? I don't think I would have been very old. Gosh. What year was it released? I would have been.
Oh, I can tell you. Yeah, I can tell you.
I'm interested to know now.
It
Wow.
got rid of Rogue's Bottom. That's the
Yeah, why did they do that to Rogue's bum? Sorry.
because female characters that don't have a trans-identifying trait cannot
Yeah.
have female features.
Oh, there you go. 1992. No, that's true. 1992. So I'd have been 7. So my
Sorry,
memories
Rachel, we just need to introduce Joe.
Oh
been with
my
us since the start
God!
of
Can
the
you
show.
hear me? Tell me you can
Joe,
hear
you're
me.
I can hear you,
fired.
my brother.
You're
How you
fired,
doing?
Joe.
Oh no. Okay, hear me out. Hear me out. Literally, I have 0 good excuses. 0. It's
Did you
straight
just
up.
forget?
It's so bad. I'll tell you exactly what happened. So like 3 hours ago, I got on the phone with some chick, and for some particular reason,
Some
I'm working on a
Some
separate
chick.
project, and we talked for like hours, and I planned to have an alarm set. And I was like, I have an alarm set in my head. I'm like, when the alarm goes off, I'm going to be ready. I wasn't at my computer. I was just sitting on my couch. And then, oh my God, like I'm way past the time. Holy shit. Like, dude, it's the end of the stream. But then I realized, I'm like, okay, see you later. And I'm like, I go back to my computer and it's like, holy shit, dude. It just hit me. I am so sorry. I don't think I've
That's fine,
ever been
mate.
late to a stream
We
like
were
this.
concerned,
This
but
is
as long as everything's all right,
terrible.
that's the most important thing.
I am so sorry, Tuna and Rachel. I
That's all right.
apologize.
It's
Please
fine. You just
forgive
need to
me.
do more
Fine.
things.
You're
This is a
hired
first for
again.
me.
You're
You're
hired
reinstated,
again.
soldier.
Yeah.
1992, apparently, Rachel. I don't know if you found that out already.
Yeah, 1992. Yeah, so I'd have been about 7. So
There you go. We just having accusations thrown at Joe.
Oh,
But what's
no.
interesting is apparently season 2 is already wrapped up. I'm trying to find the bit in the article. Completed writing duties on season 2, was lining up press and making plans to attend the show's premiere on March 13th, even discussing ideas for a 3rd season with members of his team. But it looks like there's been a change of plan, and they've decided that they're not going to continue. They're going to wish him well on future endeavors. So does this maybe say that we are in for a bit of a rocky time with X-Men
endeavors.
97?
Yeah, it could mean that. They didn't give any reason why he was fired, did they? Other than wish him well on his future endeavors, which means he was fired.
Marvel had no comment. DeMeo's representative did not return calls for comment. An email to the showrunner yielded no response. So that kind of, to me, says that he's been given the Mickey boot.
Yeah, so something happened, right? So
is this maybe, again, I'm a bit of a conspiracy theorist here, but is it kind of looking at the product, thinking actually this could bring more criticism to us? You need to GTFO.
I don't know about that. We've seen this like a lot where like creators have been let off or let go, especially from Marvel recently. And that's never indicative of the fact that they're changing in a positive direction.
Yeah.
It's purely that the people, we can't even comprehend what's going on, but the people at the top, however they're looking at it, they're looking at it with like they believe they know what the problems are, but the problems are not at all what the actual problems are. Like you'll hear Bob Iger talk about the products, and he'll say vague things.
The only thing
like,
I'd say,
"Oh,
Joe,
yeah.
we went through a article. I mean, if you come here earlier, you would have been able to take part in it.
I'm sorry.
neither here
I'm
nor
so
there.
sorry.
But Bob Iger is slashing at Disney projects. He's already canned Eternals 2 personally, with Ant-Man 4 and Captain Marvel 3
Yeah, I heard
potentially also
about
being on the
that.
block. So is it possible that this is the great unseen hand of Big Bob?
It's very possible. I don't imagine, like, maybe I'm wrong about this, but I don't feel like the CEO is involved with like the development of like a television series that hasn't been released yet. But it's
Maybe not
probably
with
a
the
trickling
development,
down
but
effect.
if he has seen it and he's thought, this isn't
Yeah.
going well, boys.
You're right. You're definitely could be right, especially if the higher ups for the show, like people under Bob, reported to him, their findings, and he had a chance to look at it. No, definitely that could be the case. My point is that what they see as problems are not the actual problems that we see as problems. That's why I am reluctant to say it's a good thing that this, like a good thing that this happened, because the main reason is, let's just say it straight, it's the woke crap. That's really the stuff that ruins all this stuff. Okay, in one word, it's more complicated than that, but it's in one word. That's a good word for it. But they wouldn't admit that. That's definitely not the reason they would admit it. Bob would say something along the lines of, "Oh, maybe it was just rushed out, or we're creating too many products too quickly," or something vague like that, where they're not addressing the actual problem, which is their
They're not
content is
utilizing
shit.
the Marvel Spotlight brand very well, are they? If you remember, that was brought in for Echo as a means to shift projects that wouldn't do very well under a banner that's saying, well, they're not canon, even though Echo technically turned out to be fucking canon.
Did you watch Echo?
I saw the first episode. I saw 30 or 40 minutes of the first episode, and I turned it off because I saw everything that I needed to see, and it was crap.
Fair enough.
So, some strange fellow called B-Hop says, "Hey guys, X-Men 97 premieres on the 20th. Next Culture Council is on the 23rd. Obviously, Joe, you've got advance notice of this, so if you want to make sure you're there next time."
This is the first time this has ever happened. I apologize.
I want to do a watch along together before we stream CC next week, and we can figure out the details. Yeah,
no, Gobster, I didn't fall asleep. My sleep schedule isn't even that bad. Okay, it's bad, but it's not that bad.
You will have. There's always something in your life that you do that you'll never live down, and I think this might become one of them.
I'm so sorry.
Sorry.
All I can
If we
say.
can get back to the stream, obviously,
Yeah.
Kelly, what did you think to Echo? Just let us know in the chat, just out of curiosity. Yeah, I mean, look, I think you're probably right. I mean, maybe he just decided that he wanted to go. We'll never know, will we? But it's interesting times at Marvel. They, could they be seeing sense?
Maybe. I always took, particularly since the Millie Gibson stuff, we wish them well on their future endeavors as they've been fired. That's what I take it to be, because because BBC won't confirm anything about Millie Gibson potentially being fired or not, or whether or not she quit. They won't confirm it. But yeah,
I'm still not entirely sure about why she was fired, because I know the theory is that it was because she's white, and the BBC's had enough with that because they're crazy. But I'm thinking,
because we had this conversation, didn't we? It's never enough, is it? Okay, so you've got
exactly.
a female,
never enough.
But they're white.
Yeah, but they knew it well in advance. That's my point. Is like she's been playing this character for a long time, not on screen, and so for them to do it right before it just seems very weird. Like, I almost feel like there's more reasons. Like, maybe she upset somebody, and so this was more of like, because that firing, quote unquote, I'm doing air quotes, is really a slap in the face to her, and I feel like that was almost intentional, because that's not really going to help her career very much. And so there was something that it was out of spite. I wonder if
she left
pissed off Russell T.
job,
Davies
on Coronation Street.
She did have a full-time job. Yeah, she
Yeah.
left
Yeah, and then she
specifically for this, for not for X-Men, for Doctor Who.
she gave it up.
Yeah, she did, and that was a regular paid job as well.
Could
Doctor
easily see
says
that happening,
Disney
Gobster. Could
was forced
easily
to
see
do it.
that happening.
Hmm.
We'll never know.
We'll never know with that because obviously Disney have their DEI. Now then, it would have been with regards if you're doing it with the Disney's DEI, it would have been a 50-50.
Yeah.
So that would be Shooty and Millie. Shooty's black, Millie's white, obviously. Making it, I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, because the BBC would also have their own diversity quota that has to be met as well.
Hmm.
Oh, don't they
So
just?
yeah. So who knows what came into play there if it's to do with diversity.
You know, this isn't even that dissimilar from Russell's first run of Doctor Who in his first season. Like this is the first season of the new era, but he had problems like this in the first series with Eccleston. You know, somebody leaving who was announced that he was leaving before the show premiered, as far as I understand it, or early into the show. Yeah, I wonder if it was on top of the diversity thing, which is always a bonus for the BBC. I wonder if Russell just has a huge problem with like getting into arguments with the people he's hired because I feel like Millie and Shooty are on good terms because he has since posted Instagram stories saying, you know, I hope you do well and stuff. Russell, I feel like, has he said much about it personally?
Not that I've seen.
You feel like he would have, wouldn't he?
The thing about these firings is that if, like, say, DeMeo and Millie Gibson had actually signed like a D&D, which is do not discuss, or NDA, non-disclosure agreement, they can't actually come forward and confirm it.
No. Yeah, absolutely.
They're not allowed. They can't defend themselves. They can't say anything. And that's the sad thing about it. So and it's essentially throwing them under a bus. It doesn't matter whether you like them or not. I don't think that should be the case. And people are going to speculate, particularly with the DeMeo stuff now, because obviously the Millie Gibson stuff has died down, and I'm sure it will kick back off once the series restarts in May. But with this one, there'll be speculation anywhere. I saw somewhere earlier on in the chat, apparently something about an OnlyFans. I don't know if that's true.
Wait, for who? The X-Men?
DeMeo, yeah. The guys leaving X-Men.
Oh my God.
I don't know. I mean,
but who knows? I don't.
Who knows what Webb's well, not Madame Webb, but Webb's Disney are weaving. So okay,
maybe they like conspiracy theories. Maybe that's it.
And it's more exciting than the product they're putting out, isn't it? So
yeah, it certainly is. Sorry. I went
okay, so having Joe back has put me all a flutter now. I don't know where I am. So let's have a little look. So going back to the whole kind of gaming and diversity kind of rebellion that's kind of going on at the minute. So this is from Dire Wolf Mage. I assume he is indeed Dire Wolf Animage. This is the statement from the co-founder of Sweet Baby Inc., David Bedard. And if I can just bring the image up, read it. So this kind of statement he's put out to all his kind of LinkedIn kind of cronies ahead of a big gaming conference next week. And it's kind of like a rallying cry to all kind of the woke kind of diversity kind of bods. So for the past 4 months, my company, Sweet Baby Inc., has been targeted by a far-right harassment campaign / conspiracy theory. Well, it's not conspiracy theory, is it? Because we know it to be true. This is a tough situation for me, my co-founder, Kim Belair. Kim Belair is another one, Rachel, that is quite open with addressing not employing certain people in their teams.
Oh, lovely.
Our entire team and our collaborators, more than the frustrations caused by the harassment and the precautions we're putting in place as a result of that, the toughness comes from the fact that this entire campaign is based on misinformation so wild and left field or right field, I guess. Yeah, he's being funny. It's impossible to even engage with it or combat it. So we spoke with press to clear things up about exactly what we do and how we do it. Adding our voices to this conversation felt necessary because what is happening to us is something that's happened before in this industry and will happen again. It happens to not just us, but also to countless other developers, players, journalists, and creators. Won't anyone think of the woke kind of creators? Everyone who has reached out to me with kind words of support, not many people, have also asked me what they can do to help. And if it took me a while to find an answer to the question, but I think I finally know. This is what you can do to help. Check in on your marginalized colleagues and friends in this industry. Make sure they're okay. Let them know that they are loved, they are appreciated, and they are welcome and that they are talented. Tell them that you're not going to let this kind of hate push them out of the industry. Tell them that things like this won't scare all their community away, that they are protected. Yeah, well, that's kind of true. And that they have a place here now more than ever. I'll be really grateful if you did that.
Yeah, I'm gonna vomit.
Well, David, you can fuck right off.
Oh my god! Of course, he's using minorities as a shield. That's what these
Yes.
companies do all the time. They're what is the term they use? They use cry bullies, right?
Yeah.
They'll cause all this craziness in the industry, and then they'll play the victim. And on top of that, they'll use minorities and diversities as a shield to criticism. So obviously, he's not doing any introspection as to what this company is doing wrong. He's simply saying, if you disagree with me, you're racist. And of course, your company's doomed to fail if you talk that way. As society progresses in the right direction, hopefully, in the future, this stuff is not going to be tolerated, and he is not invested in the future. And yeah, I'm sorry, but poor baby, his company's being ridiculed. Give me a fucking break. Like, you shouldn't have a company. You shouldn't have a company if you can't take criticism, or your company can't take criticism. Your company is doomed to fail if it can't take.
Because while they were operating on the down low and under the radar, it wasn't a problem because they were just kind of ghost, weren't they? Nobody really knew about them. But now they've got the attention. They've been brought into the light. Now they're being bullied. Now they're being harassed.
Aren't we finding out that a lot of people who are starting, like, because there's so many different ways of looking at this Sweet Baby Inc. thing. Like, lots of people are talking about it now, and a lot of the people who are starting these harassment campaigns, if you will, it seems like it's usually being instigated by people within the Sweet Baby Inc. like industry. Like, people will find out, oh, the person who started this whole drama, they actually work for this company. And you're finding out every day something new about this like company doing something very mischievous, having the people go out and start drama and try to. It's very weird. So yeah, you got sick people who work at a sick company.
But that's how this all started, wasn't it? You know, you had the Steam Curation Group, curator group rather, sorry, and they started getting, ironically enough, they started getting harassed by an employee of SBI saying that mass report this. Not just the group, but the person's account, mass reporting, mass flagging, he's racist, etc., etc. And that's kind of what kicked all this off. And now I think it's kind of blew way out of proportion where, they're rallying behind Gamergate 2 and, gamers are kind of racist and horrible. And
Yeah, I don't know much about this because I don't know much about gaming. I mean, what I've learned from this is really only what I picked up from like Yellow Flash and perhaps Clownfish TV. Sounds a mess, to be honest. Quite frank.
Beautiful.
Oh, it makes great content for people. I mean,
I think it's
can't
finally
really
giving
comment on it.
people of that media of gaming a nice kind of
wake-up call
spear to throw at these people, saying that we don't appreciate what you're doing. The content you're creating under your kind of guidelines sucks. Pack it in, otherwise you're not going to be in jobs much longer.
Well, Yellow Flash had the theory that they were pushing for a second Gamergate through the Sweet Baby Inc. I think he might be right. Are they already calling it Gamergate 2?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right then.
That's
I'm a bit behind.
What is
gaming media, because obviously gaming journalists are now kind of circling the wagons to protect the golden gooses, because I imagine there's a lot of kind of access rights and all that kind of stuff. It's getting very messy because people are having to defend something which is blatantly obvious indefensible. But
what is that phrase that people say a lot, which is like entertainment is, or culture is downstream from entertainment? Is that correct? Like Friday Night Tights will sometimes say that. Have you heard that before? I feel like this is just another example of that, where the Hollywood sickness is spreading to other industries. And of course, this is Gamergate 2, so this has happened before. But we're seeing it. It's probably bigger than it was back then. I imagine because the tension is bigger than it was 10 years ago. The political tension, the cultural tension. So I feel like this is a good double-edged sword. On the one hand, it's annoying that these companies are this way, but it's almost like we were building to this. And so now it's a matter of like, okay, which way do we go from here? And it could be a really good thing. Like if people can stand up and say, you know, this is what we're not willing to tolerate, this is what we're willing to tolerate, then people can really, you know, set the stage for the future and put us in a good direction. Yeah, at least for the gaming industry.
It's curious times, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Curious times. So I'm not sure again if this is something that Rachel has seen. Just get it refocused.
I just said what the hell, but I was muted.
Wait, what? What is this?
So this is the Royal College of Midwives. We are proud to announce that we will be hosting Birth Beyond the Binary. This webinar aims to give our members the confidence to influence competency and inclusivity for Alpha Brigade service users and colleagues in maternity services.
Wow.
I'll let you digest that.
I have no words.
So very much like the scandal in the US with the pilots and, you know, the 50% diversity quota. So regardless of whether you're best for the job, it's all about how you look. I'd imagine there could be something similar here, and about, you know, supporting women giving birth, basically saying they don't want a man in a dress supporting the kind of the procedure. It goes into a login page, so I don't know a full about whether it's about getting more inclusive staff into midwifery, or whether it's kind of the opposite direction, about supporting staff when you've got a non-binary person giving birth, whatever. My question is, either way, should really we be messing around with this, or should we just be focusing on making sure that when a lady goes in to give birth, that it's the best possible service and training?
Well, it should be the best possible service and training, because I wouldn't want someone faffing about with going beyond the binary, because I'm more interested in pumping out a baby. You know what I mean? Because I ain't got time to think about that. Now, I'm trying to find something for you. My mum said, and I can't remember what it's called. She's a nurse. She's a matron, and she said that there's like a criteria that there's like a LGBT criteria thing that goes around scoring hospitals on how accessible they are for people who are trans and things like that. And I can't remember what it's called.
On a CC a few weeks ago. They were defunded, weren't they, Rachel? That's how I heard about it. The charity that does it for the NHS has been defunded.
Have they been defunded now? Okay, I can't remember who it is.
That's how I got wind of it. But yeah, I know we bronze, silver, and gold, based on how inclusive the hospital is. Yeah.
And then if they're not very inclusive, they're I don't know. I don't want to say they're deemed transphobic, but they will certainly get the label of not being very inclusive.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, my mum certainly had a few things to say about it with regards to her ward, because she runs a ward, and her ward is kind of in a situation where they need certain access spaces for certain, certain people, and she overrode a decision that was trying to be made by her seniors. She actually overrode it, and she said, no, you can't do that, because I need that to be assigned for whichever sex of the person is in that particular place. You can't just have, because otherwise if you do that, you'll have anyone walking in. And my mum's not like transphobic, I mean, she is older generation, so she is very much more, black and white, but she's she's certainly not like transphobic or anything like that, and she wouldn't be like out to get anyone. but she just told it how it was, and they had to listen to her. And yeah, like I say, if I was pumping out a baby, I wouldn't be thinking about the binary. I don't know about anybody else. I mean,
How would you feel if?
how would you feel, Kelly?
Well, yeah, absolutely, KP. But
Yeah,
how would you feel? I mean, again, it's kind of a bit of a woman, isn't it? But you're getting ready to give birth, and
yeah.
one of the midwife teams is effectively a man in a dress. I mean, what women are going to be too scared, I would imagine, to say, I'm not happy with this. I'd rather just have, dare I say, a normal person.
Well, the main demographic for midwifery is women.
Mm.
Yeah, it is. I don't know if there are any male midwives. There might be, but most commonly it is women because they're the ones that experience it. And like generally, like women have like this like higher natural sort of like empathetic understanding. We're much more heightened in our emotions and things like that. So, and that really benefits the job of being a midwife, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think that would. I mean, I know a midwife. She's very empathetic and she understands a lot, and I'm assuming she's very good at her job. I mean, I've never seen her do a job, but yeah, I mean, obviously, there are male doctors and there will be male doctors, possibly male nurses in the room, but I don't know. It's
Very strange, isn't it? That we are literally going to be going potentially into the future where there's just nowhere you can go as a biological woman where a man, in one way or another, regardless of whether he's had surgery or not, cannot also go. And I think it's insane that we're just throwing this all away.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I don't plan on giving birth anytime soon, so it's a little out of my knowledge area of expertise. But yeah, this is it's just another example of them pushing this asinine ideology onto people. This is happening in your country, but in a lot of ways, it's happening here as well, and just in different shapes and forms. Do we think it's they're intentionally trying to do something bad when they do this? I believe they are. I think the people in power who are doing this, absolutely, because you can always tell if someone has bad intentions if they start silencing criticism. If someone has good intentions, they want to know that they're doing the best thing. They want people to tell them, hey, I think you're doing the best thing. And when they get constructive criticism, they make improvements. It's always a very obvious sign that there's malicious intent about pushing any sort of idea or ideology onto a population if they're refusing to hear any counter to it. Ultimately, this is about taking the authority away from women and giving it to men.
Yeah,
that's kind of what's happening. I mean, it's offensive to say that, but it's what's happening.
Normie Nerd, hello mate, thanks for joining us. Expect articles about the transphobic behaviour of birthing people in labour. Now, obviously, Joe, you weren't here, so you wouldn't have been part of the discussion. Scotland, from April 1st, are bringing a hate law so that if someone is offended, they can effectively call the police. So I think Rachel probably knows where I'm going with this. So you are a lady in Scotland, you are in the hospital, you are going to give birth, and then all of a sudden you realise that one of the midwifery team is a man in a dress or a whatever. You say you're not happy with this. The person who is the man in the dress gets offended because, they identify as a woman. Do we put the pregnant or birthing woman in hospital?
In prison.
Prison, yeah, sorry.
That's crazy. That is really crazy. I didn't hear about that, what was happening in Scotland. This is why I'm glad I have the Second Amendment. Sorry, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you. I don't think it would be very fair.
But that's what we're saying, though, is it not?
Yeah, that definitely wouldn't be very fair because she's in pain. She ain't going to be thinking about it. She's going to be concentrating.
This
on
mum
what
is
she's
transphobic
doing.
because she's not respecting my right as a man to identify as a woman.
Oh, it's so bad. Oh my
Do you
goodness.
know what I would have if if you know if that were me, I would have probably just gone, you better watch out, mate, 'cause I'm gonna end up cutting your hand off or something, like that. Because, like I say, I mean, you're gonna be in pain. You don't think about that sort of thing at all. Wow. So what? Finish having the baby and then like do your like 24-hour stay in hospital, sometimes longer, and then
Well,
go to prison.
you're probably resting.
Yeah,
Kind of babies in the cot.
yeah.
Knock on the door. Hi, I'm PC, whatever. It's a Scottish name here. Would like to talk to you about a complaint we've had regarding your behaviour while in this hospital.
There's also a chance though that she couldn't remember because going into shock is also a very real thing after having a baby as well.
Maybe, but I think if history is showing anything, it doesn't matter what the mitigation is. It only matters is that someone has been offended and they want to make a complaint.
Damn. You know what? Just don't get pregnant in Scotland. That's it. Simple
What
answer.
we've been saying this entire kind of evening, Rachel, is coming to the UK in a matter of like under a year.
Don't
It's
get
coming to
pregnant in
the
the
UK.
UK. Don't get pregnant in the UK. That's it. That's it. Birth rate's dropping. That's it. Damn. This
I'll
is
try to remember.
insane. And there's also something here. It says, what does it say? It talks about the service users. I'm guessing that is pregnant people.
Yeah. We can't say pregnant women, can we?
No, we can't.
Has to be this garbage.
Pregnant woman,
It's-
pregnant woman, pregnant woman.
So, okay, so here's the thing. So then what would that mean then if someone like me, who is a biological woman, who doesn't follow the non-binary, I'm not non-binary, okay, goes in and they just automatically call me a birthing person? That's offensive. They, instead of asking me, do you want to be called a birthing person, they'll just go in and they'll just say it as into, like, not be offensive. They're just going to go in straight away with the gender neutral, so to speak,
and
linguistic.
that'll be the out, won't it? As
Yeah.
a biological woman, and you say, you go to Scotland, you drive all the way up there and go, do you know what? Yeah, I'm going to have my baby right here.
Yeah.
And they say, Mrs. So-and-so, you're the birthing person. You say, well, I'm offended by that.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way, does it? You say, well, no, because you
No.
can't be offended because it's a gender neutral language.
Yeah. But I'm a
It's
woman. I want
insane.
you to use the correct language for me.
Isn't that the crazy thing though? It's that everything revolves around people being offended, but only the certain group being offended. If you yourself
Absolutely.
are offended, Rachel, you say, I want
Yeah.
to be referred to as a woman, as a
Yeah.
female.
Transphobic,
you're
Islamophobic.
you being
yeah.
offensive, you being offended doesn't qualify you for us to actually change our policies.
Oh, Joe, you disappointed me. Damn.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Actually.
I'll get over it very quickly. Don't worry. Yeah. There's a trans woman actually on YouTube. Her name's Alexis, and she now I think she's actually very based. So I respect her and her pronouns and all of that because she's very based. She's that biology is real, and she doesn't agree with this gender neutral language being applied to women. She doesn't agree with that. She believes what she believes is if someone is gender neutral, obviously respect that and use that language, but be sure to check that they're happy for that,
Yeah.
And really, if this is the route that they're going down, then I think they just need to check it with regards to the service users. But to be honest, this is insane. It's like when you're given a baby, when you're having a baby, are you really going to think about this?
And I think that's the worrying thing, isn't it? That I'm not saying that every person that identifies as a different gender
Yeah.
out to be a pervert or a criminal or whatever. Let's be honest, history is kind of showing us that these kind of people seem to float towards schools, float towards this thing. And what are you supposed to do? Do you mean, as you say, if you are going into labor and, although it's the last thing on your mind, you may be a bit heightened to find out that there is someone that's making you feel uncomfortable. and there's nothing you can do about it, because if you say something, you're a bigot, you're a phobe, if you're in Scotland, you can have a complaint raised against you.
Done it again. Yeah, that's very true. That's very true.
Lobster, thank you very much for joining us, mate.
Thank
you
you,
take care.
Lobster. Yeah, I can't find that charity anywhere. They must be gone then. That 100%.
Yeah, I didn't catch the name of the charity because, funnily enough, the article didn't give it. But that's where I heard about it. That the funding has been revoked or whatever, or they've just decided. And for once, I completely agree.
Yeah. Because all kinds of people use the hospitals at the end of the day, and it has to be accessible.
We only seem to be worried about
Yeah.
pleasing a certain ultra minority.
Do you think that this announcement could be reversed, given enough backlash, eventually?
There is, isn't there?
Yeah.
The NHS get a kicking every time because you pick up a leaflet,
Yeah.
and they are still. I mean, whether there's any kind of walking back on it, I don't know, but yeah, it's happening. I mean, whether it gets walked back, I don't know, but what are you going to do? We're the insane ones, apparently. We're the ones that are off our rockers.
I wonder if that's a big part of this whole culture war, is that the people higher up, whatever you want to call them, they know exactly what they're doing, and their whole strategy is just to confuse everybody, just to make people mad and furious and frustrated. Yes. And just because what that is, that's a massive distraction.
Yeah.
So is this the most pressing issue going on in the world right now? Maybe not. Maybe it's just a way to distract people because you get so emotionally invested, and obviously humanity is very tied to logic. So when you have something that's a counter logic, then obviously people will start to get cognitively dissonant, and people get upset, and they know exactly what they're doing. I'm of the opinion it's all a big distraction. However, with that being said, it's still a real thing that's happening. So
it's a distraction.
You have to address it. Yeah, you have to play the game that they're laying out for you. Unfortunately, so this has to be addressed. And hope. Go on.
I was going to say I'd be interested to know what that webinar actually says.
Like specifically,
like specific, like
I don't know what because obviously they lock comments and all that kind of stuff shortly afterwards.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, so I don't know what the they'll probably reschedule it for another time, but
well, if they lock comments, then that would suggest that quite a lot of people are not happy about it.
Well, they weren't. Yeah, I mean, and why would you be if you have kind of any common sense? So, okay, so look, time's getting on a little bit. I'm very surprised my voice has held out this long.
Yeah, so well done.
I think we're in a position to look at wrapping up. So, thank you to everybody watching on X, everybody in the chat. It's been absolutely amazing. So this is Culture Council 10. It was actually a little bit of a milestone, to be honest with you. I'm surprised we've been able to keep it up for this long. So yeah, thank you very much for listening to my throat go high and low. So, and thank you to Joe for gracing us with your present.
Thank you.
Yeah, I apologize.
Your Romeo antics.
But I was glad to catch a little bit of it. It was fun.
Yeah, pleasure as always. Look, it's not the taking part; it's just being there that kind of counts. So, not a lot from me. Obviously, with kind of my voice kind of going in and out. I haven't been able to kind of do too much kind of bits in the way of videos and stuff, so I'm going to try and catch up next week. I am on with Ryan Affate on Reality Based Extreme at 9 p.m. UK, whatever that is in the US. So if you're a fan of Ryan's, or even if you're not, come along and see where that kind of rabbit hole goes. So Rachel, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure as always. Thank you for being the linchpin to. It got very messy at the start of the stream because we were wondering where people were, But
I gotta look back on the stream, man. Oh no.
We were very late, Joe. We were a couple
minutes late. It was like 20 minutes or something. It was like 15 minutes or something.
But Rachel, thank you very much as always. It's been absolutely brilliant.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Thank you. What have you got coming up?
Well, I had a couple of videos released on my YouTube channel today. Chat about it, don't shout about it at Chat Don't Shout. And also, I want to say thank you to everyone who subscribed to me. I've had 50 subscribers in the space of 7 days.
Hell yes.
And that was from my J.K. Rowling and India Willoughby coverage. So thank you. Thank you. And then there's no video tomorrow because I'm on the Sense Sphere
Nice.
and doing
Brendan,
a
lovely.
with Brendan, and Culture Pop will be on there too as well.
Yes,
actually, so
yeah.
he will be there, and we're doing Cliffhangers, and that's at 7 p.m. in UK time, which I'm not
Whatever in
entirely sure
US.
what it be in the US, but please do come and join us because that's going to be really fun.
Lovely
So,
stuff.
yep.
If you haven't already, please look Rachel's channel up. It's brilliant. Make sure if you haven't already, give a subscribe.
Thank you.
And Joe, I guess, mate. I mean,
Yeah, I'm not even gonna bother plugging my stuff. I don't deserve it. But I will ask Rachel a question actually before we get off. I was wondering, are you going to be a part of the Doctor Who ranking things we're doing in the future?
we haven't
Sorry.
talked about it yet. So
Oh, we
it's
haven't talked about it.
really
Oh, I'm
no.
sorry. Okay, I assumed that you talked about it.
No.
So we're
Don't
doing
know.
this whenever. It's sort of up in the air, but we did season 1. We ranked all the episodes, and I thought it would be great. Tuna and I thought it'd be great to have more people on there, and you should definitely
Yeah.
join us for the next one. We're gonna be
Yeah.
doing season
Unfortunately,
2, and it's gonna
After
be
we
like
did the after we
Yeah,
did
go
the
on.
first one, we were looking at planning the second one, but I came down with what I've got at the minute. So
yeah.
we are
Yeah.
looking at planning it for about 2 weeks' time, give or take. But
Okay.
yeah, I mean, when I know for sure that I'm okay to kind of go ahead with it, we'll start talking to people about availability. And yeah, absolutely, the more the merrier, because it was really fun, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, and honestly, it's like a lot of us have different opinions about things, which makes it really fun to have to come up with one ranking. It's if you've ever seen those rankings on YouTube, they go like to A through F or something, or like really good to super bad, and then they just throw them into each like column or
Yeah.
whatever, and it's cool. But yeah, maybe next time when we get to it, there are certain things that we disagree on, like the awesome character. There's a really awesome character in Doctor Who, who's fabulous. I mean, perfect character. But Tuna, it makes Tuna want to shoot himself in the brain every time he hears about this character. So that's a big thing. It rhymes with liver lawns. And he does not like that character very much. So I
That's
won't say her
an
name.
understatement. Whenever I hear that name, all I think of is
Wow. That's dramatic.
He's kind of
Your
dramatic.
poor brain.
okay. Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah,
I
it'll be a
mean,
lot of
Joe,
fun.
have you got anything coming on though? I mean, we hopefully should have Retro Valley Tuesday.
So yeah, that's the
Um,
big thing coming up. Besides the Doctor Who rankings, it's going to be the Retro Valley, which is always fun, and they are getting better. Like each one is getting better. It is like the first one started up kind of chaos. Second one was a little bit less
Right.
chaos, and the third last one was a little less chaos. So we're slowly getting there. Connection is slowly getting better, and the topics are slowly getting better, and the quality of gameplay. I mean, that's
I
never
think
going to
it's
get
always
better.
getting better.
I don't know if that's getting better, but anyways, yeah, that's it.
Lovely stuff. Okay, well, again, thank you everyone in the chat. Thank you to everyone kind of watching. It's been absolutely fantastic. I'm surprised I've had out for this long. So thank you very much, and we will see you next Saturday or whenever you're going to crossing paths for our travels. Take care. Peace.
You.
Peace.